Now, I want to talk about overselling individual rights and illiberal liberalism, just very quickly on overselling individual rights. The fact is that we make a really big deal about the importance of rights here in the United States. But if you look around the world, most people don't really think that individual rights matter that much. In a thoroughly liberal country like the United States, you can sell that kind of argument up to a point, but it's very hard to do abroad, especially in countries where people prize security. If you go to Russia today and you talk to people about liberal democracy and rights, they will tell you, almost all of them, we tried that in the 1990s, and Russia was turned into the Wild West. We're much happier with Putin and the political system that we have. Soft authoritarianism. It's much more suited for us. And we don't care that much about rights. We have some rights, we understand their limits, but we don't want your political system. We've been there, we tried that, it didn't work. Right? So what I'm saying to you is in a lot of countries, when you invade them and you think you can do social engineering, all for the purpose of turning them into liberal democracies, what you discover in almost all those cases is that being turned into a liberal democracy where individual rights are prized is not that important. It's not to say it's unimportant, but people are just not craving for individual rights. And in many cases, they're just craving for stability. If you're an Iraqi and it's 2003 and Uncle Sugar pays you a visit, he topples the regime, right, and then chaos breaks out. Over the next couple years, you're not going to be worried too much about creating a liberal democracy. You're not going to be worried too much about individual rights. You're just going to be worried about what you can do to stabilize the country so that you and your family don't get killed, right? So you just want to understand that we tend to oversell individual rights. And when you marry that with the power of nationalism and the power of realism, you get into real trouble. My final point has to do with illiberal liberalism. Remember what I told you about liberalism to begin with. I told you that liberalism was predicated on the assumption that you could not reach universal agreement on first principles. Remember I told you that. And therefore you develop sort of a live and let live political order. That's what liberalism is. It's a modus vivendi form of politics. You let people decide for themselves. If he wants to be a Protestant, I want to be a Catholic. He wants to be a Jew, I want to be a Muslim. You let people do what they want, okay? Because you can't reach universal agreement. If you think about it, liberal hegemony is based on intolerance. It says everybody has to be a liberal democracy. My view is if you have soft authoritarianism in Russia, so what? That's their choice. Why can't they have a soft authoritarian system? Why do we have to say everybody has to look like us? Isn't this antithetical to the basic liberal enterprise? I think the answer is yes.